Who do you want to play with?
Bronny is number one on my fucking list.
With Bronny, I want to clarify one thing you just said, which is Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this.
And now there are questions as to whether or not he'll ever make a Lakers roster. And certainly whether or not he deserves to. That scrutiny is valid. It's understandable. And he's got a lot to prove.
Bronny James, 19 years old, already one of the most talked about players in the NBA. Bronny was born into, some would say, the perfect life. Rich family, living in LA, being set for life the second he was born. But as Bronny has been put into a life many would only dream of, he also has to deal with a lot of criticism. Yeah, it's not unfamiliar for Bronny. Fame and money has been ever present in his life since young. Thus though, is the spotlight and immense pressure of being the son of LeBron James. So, I'll take you back to where it all started. Bronny is destined for basketball stardom. When your dad is one of the greatest NBA players ever, it is only a matter of time until you start picking up a basketball. As a child, Bronny also played football and ice hockey until LeBron made him stop for safety concerns. Or maybe, he just wanted Bronny to pursue basketball. By the time he was 10 years old, Bronny was being offered college scholarships by major programs such as Duke and Kentucky. Yes, a 10-year-old being offered full-ride scholarships from some of the biggest colleges in the US. LeBron commented on this situation. It should be a violation. You shouldn't be recruiting 10-year-old kids. By 2018, Bronny was 13 years old and playing for the North Coast Blue Chips with notable teammates such as Mikey Williams, Jazir Jackson, and Gabe Cupps. Videos of these games would go viral on YouTube, with people eager to see how LeBron's son would perform on the basketball court, giving us a glimpse of what's to come in the future. At this time in Bronny's life, his dad had just finished his time with the Cavs and entered the 2018 free agency. Now, LeBron had to make a choice to where he will play next.
We've got breaking news. LeBron is a Laker.
LeBron James is a Los Angeles Laker for what ought to occupy the final act of his NBA story.
First of all, I'm ecstatic. I think it was the right situation, the right call for him to make. He wasn't going to get anything accomplished in Cleveland. That was obvious.
As we all know, LeBron ended up signing with the Lakers, so the James family packed their bags and flew to Los Angeles. Bronny was entering his freshman season when he decided to transfer to Sierra Canyon, a private school in Chatsworth, California. Sierra Canyon's basketball program was one of the best in the country, winning the previous 2 state titles at the time. But with Bronny being the most famous player on his team, and the reason every game has a sellout crowd, did not mean he would be the star player. Because when Bronny joined Sierra Canyon in his freshman season, so did 5-star recruits Brandon Boston Jr. and Zaire Williams for their senior season. This meant that Bronny would get little to no playing time. Unfortunately, in one of his games, Bronny was confronted by a heckler who did the unthinkable. Threw an orange peel at Bronny. I mean, this is just outrageous. I'm surprised LeBron didn't jump into the crowd and start throwing hands.
Hi James family, I just want to apologize that I threw an orange peel at Bronny.
Yeah, it was a kid, but still, that doesn't give him a pass. Even LeBron said, hating has no age limit. By the time his freshman season was cancelled because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Bronny averaged 4.1 points in 15 minutes per game, as Sierra Canyon finished with a 30-4 record. And Bronny was also his team's only player to appear in all 34 games of the season. Bronny tore his meniscus at practice right before his sophomore season, so he ended up missing most of that season, only playing 3 games in which he averaged 7 points. By his junior season, you would think that Bronny finally has the chance to be Sierra Canyon's best player, showing the world his full potential. But no, Sierra Canyon had 5-star recruit Amari Bailey, who was literally the #1 player in his state, which meant that Bronny had to spend another year playing substantial minutes under one of the best high schoolers in the country. But Bronny did start showing signs of improvement, with averages of 8.8 points, 3.3 rebounds, and 2.8 assists per game. He also played his dad's old high school, St. Vincent St. Mary's, where he dropped a season-high 19 points, leading Sierra Canyon to a 71-53 win. Around this time is when LeBron would start expressing his desire to be able to play with Bronny in the NBA. And don't get me wrong, this would be an incredible thing to witness, But LeBron putting this amount of pressure on his son would end up doing not so great things to Bronny, which we will uncover later on in this video. Now, in his senior season, Bronny was handed a starting role and finally had the opportunity to show everyone what he is made of. As a senior, Bronny was finally getting to show the world his potential now that he wasn't under any 5-star recruits that were holding him back. Bronny averaged a solid 14.2 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1.8 steals per game, leading his team to a 23-11 record. After having a breakout season, Bronny was invited to the McDonald's All-American game, which, if you don't know, is one of the highest honors a high school basketballer can receive. But there is only 25 spots, which means somebody has to get snubbed. Bronny made it over talented kids like Mikey Williams, Caleb Foster, and eventual first-round pick AJ Johnson. People were upset because Bronny is not his dad. He doesn't score 30 points a night for Sierra Canyon, more of a defender and a connector. But you don't get in for stats. There are rankings. Bronny moved from 41 to 20 in the rankings his senior season. So by definition, he was led in over higher ranked players. But don't believe me, Frank Burleson was an original member of the McDonald's All-American Games Selection Committee. He said, "I don't want this to sound negative, but if he wasn't LeBron's son, I'd say he's a good player, but we wouldn't be debating whether he's a McDonald's All-American." I don't know if that sounds negative or hating, but so be it. That's just the way it is by the mere fact of who his daddy is. So by now, you might be able to see why Bronny has been receiving criticism because of the things that might have just been handed to him. Bronny has just finished his high school career on a hot streak. He has managed to get himself to be a number 10 projected first-round pick in the 2024 NBA draft, mostly from his stellar performance he showcased in the later half of his high school career. Bronny had almost every college in the country wanting to acquire him, but Bronny was only interested in 4: Ohio State, USC, Oregon, and Memphis. Bronny chose USC as their campus is based in LA, not so far from the Crypto.com arena, which is where the Lakers play, which gives him the opportunity to stay home with his family. At this point in time, Bronny hadn't even played a single college game ever when his dad decided to post this infamous tweet. Man, Bronny definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit lightweight hilarious. So if you didn't quite understand what LeBron was saying, he basically said Bronny, who again hadn't played a single college game, is better than some NBA players. This was dumb by LeBron, putting more unnecessary pressure on his son, like he doesn't have to deal with enough hate already. And you will see later on in this video, LeBron would go on to regret posting this tweet. Preparing for his freshman season, Bronny and his USC teammates were having a private off-season practice when Bronny suddenly collapsed on the basketball court.
You're getting word that Bronny James, who is going to be a freshman basketball player at USC, suffered cardiac arrest while at a practice yesterday.
He went into cardiac arrest. Luckily, medical staff were able to treat Bronny on the scene and rush him to the nearest hospital. A congenital heart defect caused this cardiac arrest. Just 3 days after Bronny collapsed on the basketball court, he was released from hospital. Bronny was projected to be a top 10 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, and was also seen as one of the most improved prospects in the country before his cardiac arrest. If you remember, I said Bronny was ranked number 29 in the national rankings. Well, he dropped to a staggering number 60. Fast forward 5 months from this incident, Bronny made his highly anticipated collegiate debut, finishing with 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 block off the bench. Some could say Bronny started off with a disappointing performance in his first game as a Trojan, but I can't name any other college basketball player who suffered from a heart attack and went back to playing less than 5 months later. In my opinion, Bronny shouldn't be getting any negative comments towards him, but that wasn't going to be the case. In Bronny's best game as a Trojan, he scored 15 points on a 6 of 11 from the field and had 3 assists. Obviously, as Bronny was a freshman in college, he wasn't going to get much playing time, while Isaiah Collier was on the team, who was another guard for the Trojans. He was just miles ahead of everyone else on the team, averaging 16 points per game. Bronny played in 25 games, making 6 starts in his 1 season at USC, averaging 4.8 points and 2.8 rebounds per game. After this disappointing first year in college, Bronny was removed from the 2024 mock draft by ESPN, being moved to the 2025 draft. Bronny James has not produced like a one-and-done player this season, said the mock draft analysis. LeBron reacted to this news by posting a now-deleted tweet saying, "Can y'all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking, no matter what he decides to do. If y'all don't know, he doesn't care what the mock draft says. He just works. Earned, not given." This is hypocritical by LeBron, previously saying Bronny is better than some NBA players before he even played his first college game. It seems that LeBron can't make his mind up if he wants to let Bronny do his own thing or do everything for him. This wasn't the type of start many were expecting Bronny to have in his freshman year, but again, he did suffer from a cardiac arrest. So it was only fair to give him some time and keep developing in college, right? Well, it turned out that wasn't right, because after Bronny's mediocre freshman season, he surprised everyone when he declared for the 2024 NBA draft, and also maintaining his college eligibility, entering the transfer portal. This decision was flagged with mixed reactions, people were thinking Bronny was not even close to being at the NBA level, and that he should have taken more time to develop in college. Fans, after hearing this news, grew increasingly certain that LeBron was influencing Bronny to make it to the league, even if Bronny wasn't even ready. Bronny is nowhere near ready. He should go back to school to develop at his own pace, or he risks getting lost in the shuffle, whether or not he's playing with his dad, an NBA general manager said. Bronny James was scheduled for 10 workouts with numerous NBA teams, but he declined all of them except 2, Lakers and Suns. This is unheard of, especially from a player of Bronny's skill set, to have the ability to just say no to NBA teams that are interested in you. Bronny's agent Rich Paul said, "I got the word out early to teams that if you plan on bringing Bronny in, here's what you need to know. If you won't give him a real deal, there's nothing to talk about. It's hard to get real development on a two-way deal." Bronny James received an invitation to the draft combine, where he had to perform strongly in order to move up the draft rankings. He recorded a 40.5-inch vertical leap, the 4th highest among combine participants. He shot 19 for 25 in the three-point shooting drill, which ranked 2nd overall. Bronny went on to participate in scrimmages the next 2 days, and scouts applauded Bronny for his performance on how he filled a role to help his team win. After his impressive performance in the draft combine, Bronny catapulted in rankings, from number 98 to 54 in a matter of days. His projection went from outside the top 100 prospects to a potential second-round selection. Bronny stated that his goal was to just make it to the NBA, and not necessarily play alongside his dad. According to the final mock draft, Bronny was projected to be picked by the Lakers in the 2nd round with the 55th pick. As the draft started and the first round went by, Bronny's name was not called, but no one really expected Bronny to be picked up so early anyway. Rich Paul began calling teams that weren't the Lakers, advising them not to pick Bronny. He informed them that if they chose Bronny, he will play in Australia in the NBL.
Rich Paul's calling teams, don't take Bronny James. He's telling them, do not take him, okay? He's saying, don't take him. If you take him, he's going to Australia.
Despite how much they want to deny it, Rich Paul and the Lakers were doing everything they could to pick up Bronny.
With Bronny, I want to clarify one thing you just said, which is Rob and I did not give Bronny anything. Bronny has earned this, right? Bronny talks about his hard work. Bronny has earned this through hard work. And for us, prioritizing player development, we view Bronny as like case study 1, because his base...
And their plan was successful. As a result, LeBron's dream came true when he was finally able to get his son on the same NBA team. At the time I'm making this video, the Summer League is finished, and I will put Bronny's stats on the screen for every game he played. As you can see, Bronny started off slow in the Summer League, but he did end up heating up in the last 2 games, scoring double-digit points. How do you think Bronny will perform this season? I mean, this is a kid who has been in the spotlight since such an early age, even gaining brand deals as a teenager, with companies like Nike, Beats by Dre, PSD Underwear, and FaZe Clan. I don't think being nervous or caring about people's opinions is what will bring Bronny down. He just needs to play to the best of his abilities, and hopefully, LeBron doesn't make JJ Redick put Bronny in the starting lineup.